Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. You've probably underestimated Chris Christopherson, and not just because you didn't know he was a Lutheran. In fact, I've already mentioned that Lyle Lovett is a Lutheran, and interestingly, so is Ace Frehley, who is a member of the band Kiss. These musicians are all Lutheran, but Christopherson stands apart a bit, and there are many in the realm of country music who would say that his influence on the genre is almost beyond compare. But that's not all. As a teenager, Christopherson wrote prize-winning essays that were published in national magazines and then appeared in a Sports Illustrated feature called Faces in the Crowd for his athletic prowess in rugby, football, and track and field. After that, he won a Rhodes Scholarship and then joined the Army and rose to the rank of captain in the Rangers. After that, he wrote and recorded music for himself and others and acted in numerous movies. He's one Lutheran you really should look into. And I mention him because his main career has been in the field of music, and that's true of the other two Lutherans we want to look at today, Johann Sebastian Bach and George Frederick Handel. That's our topic for this week, and next week as we lead up to Reformation Sunday. We are looking at famous and influential Lutherans, and that can certainly be said about Bach and Handel. Bach was born into a family of musicians, and after his parents died when he was young, he lived with an older brother who helped foster Bach's interest in and skill in music. Here are some interesting facts about Bach. He had 20 children. He composed over 1,000 pieces, but that might represent only about a third of his actual output. In other words, another 2,000 works are believed lost. He liked coffee so much that he wrote a jingle about it. Ah, how sweet coffee tastes, more delicious than 1,000 kisses, milder than muscatel wine. Coffee, I have to have coffee, and if someone wants to pamper me, then bring me coffee as a gift. Bach was well known for his skill on the keyboard, and once drove a haughty competitor out of town just with the threat of a musical duel between them. When he died, it was thought that his music was old-fashioned, and he was almost ignored for a couple of hundred years. Felix Mendelssohn rediscovered the wonder of Bach's work and presented Bach's St. Matthew's Passion in 1823, igniting interest in Bach's music that has continued to grow. As with Chris Christopherson, it's hard to overestimate the influence of Bach on music in general, and especially church music. As one source said, Johann Sebastian Bach is regarded as one of the greatest composers of all time. He is celebrated as the creator of many masterpieces of church and instrumental music. His compositions represent the best of the Baroque era. Here's another interesting fact. Bach and George Frederick Handel were born in the same year, only 80 miles apart, yet never met. Like Bach, Handel was a prolific composer, delving into all types of music, including writing over 30 operas. Of course, the work most of us recognize is The Messiah, usually performed around Christmas time, and you may be aware that when the Hallelujah chorus is sung, the audience stands. The story goes that when the Messiah was first performed for the king, when the Hallelujah chorus was presented, the king was so astounded and moved that he stood in awe. The others in attendance noticed that the king was standing, so they stood too. And that's how the tradition was born. Handel spent much of his career in England, so he was connected to the Church of England, but he was a Lutheran. He is considered one of the greatest composers who has ever lived. His music was admired by classical era composers, including Mozart, Haydn, and Beethoven. In fact, Mozart said, Handel understands affect better than any of us. When he chooses, he strikes like a thunderbolt. And Beethoven described Handel as the master of us all, the greatest composer that ever lived. I would uncover my head and kneel before his tomb. These two Lutheran musicians have shaped music as we know it today. Music touches our hearts and inspires us to praise. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.